We
Look
are.
at that, beautiful.
It's been what, like a month?
It's been a month.
Been a month,
Damn,
almost, maybe 3 weeks.
damn.
As Beans decides to put
Is
off
damn?
recording.
Wait, am I not allowed to say damn? Some people say it's a bad word, but it's
I don't
like
know.
I don't
Like,
know.
yeah, I don't know because I've heard people say, oh, it's just like I don't know. It's used in books.
Yeah, it is used in books. That's the weird thing is that it's not like it really represents anything like that we wouldn't want to talk about. Like it's like I guess God damn some things.
Yeah,
He does that.
yeah. He
So
does damn
so
things.
I trying to yeah, so am I trying to supersede God? Is that the problem with the
No, I
word
don't
damn?
think so. I think
See, now it's okay that I'm using damn because I'm using it in a discussion.
yeah, and
There we go.
especially
I turned it around. You can't cancel me.
yeah. Also, for those wondering, our audio is significantly worse probably than the last episode we recorded.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We are in mode 3. We have been for a while, but this is our first recording in mode 3. We are recording audio off of Zoom because we are professionals.
Yeah, we should have done like Discord or something.
I
That's the
don't have
move.
Discord.
Well, that's too bad.
You know what?
Um,
You'll see the evolution. In like
yeah.
5 years, they're gonna see like the
In
evolution.
5 years, we're gonna have $1 million, and we're gonna be doing this in the studio.
Yeah, we're gonna have a studio. That's if we get money from it, I'm completely okay with that being my job in 5 years.
Oh my gosh, dude. Podcasting would be such a funny job.
That'd be awesome.
I don't even know.
Like imagine like eventually you get to podcasting on like radio, like not like
Ooh, yeah.
when
We
like
made
what?
it. Have you seen Mike Pence doing radio?
No.
Dude actually kills it. I'm impressed. It was like Memorial Day or something. He was talking about the veterans. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to Mike Pence while he's been in the government, but yeah, that's the only thing I've seen of Mike Pence.
I saw a meme that said Mike Pence always looks like he's. I think I showed it to you. It was like Mike Pence always.
Yeah.
Looks like he's got to like pass a law that's gonna outlaw the X-Men, and it's got a picture of him just like doing his squint face, being unhappy.
He would though. He would be the first person to outlaw the X-Men. We know this objectively. I don't know. I guess that's just a random claim. He seems like the kind of guy who would outlaw the X-Men.
Yeah. So, also,
Would Trump outlaw the X-Men?
um, it's interesting. I think probably Trump would want to outlaw the X-Men, and then
Yeah.
send Mike Pence to do it.
I mean, seriously, name me one politician who wouldn't outlaw the
Yeah, I
X-Men.
can't think of a politician that would be like, I'm cool with these guys.
Yeah.
Do it. Unless it's
Nah,
like
they'd
Arnold
all.
Schwarzenegger or something.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He'd be the. One. He probably is an X-Man.
What'd you say?
Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger would probably be the first X-Man elected. Like
He would
he would be one of the
He
X-Men.
wouldn't even he would keep the X-Men in line, but he would also just join them, and that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
yeah,
He'd be like this leader. Then we'd have like radical X-Men that want to get rid of Arnold Schwarzenegger too, and don't consider him a fair representation.
we have like the Y-Men and the
And they're like, why?
why? Let's get rid of Arnold. Why?
But then we also have the other radicals are still are racist against Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And so do they band up? Do the Y-Men and the radicals band up to like try to get Arnold out of power, or do they hate each other too much?
together. They band together, but it definitely doesn't end well. It just.
Yeah.
I think Arnold comes out on top anyway.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
He would.
Everyone else is dead, but then he just pops out of nowhere and he's like, "I'm still alive."
Can we have like California has two actors that became their governor. Like how many? I guess that's just because like all of the actors live in California.
Definitely because
So-
of the culture in California, I think.
Yeah.
Also,
But,
California would be the place that you do something as crazy as that.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like, hey, I'm a I'm like I don't know, I work at McDonald's. Can I run for president? Yeah, just head over to California.
Dude, I'd elect someone who works at McDonald's.
That would be cool. Imagine like electing a McDonald's manager, like someone that
Yeah,
manages one McDonald's.
I wonder what kind of changes they make. I don't know.
You know,
I guess we tried that whole electing a businessman this
yeah,
4 years ago.
the country has done a lot in its history. It's elected, actors, businessmen that have no political experience, but they still manage to get it. They've elected see, I say actors, but then there's also Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's like,
He was like, have you seen this? Look it up, like Mr. Olympian. Like,
oh
look,
yeah, Mr. Olympia, Arnold.
look at this man. He's just it's like it's the equivalent of electing like whatever, like Miss America or something. Is
Yeah,
basically
like
what's
that.
going on here.
Like, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to mention,
If Miss America probably took steroids, that's.
Arnold took steroids.
I don't know. Look at him.
He did not. That doesn't look that doesn't look that crazy. There's ones that look worse than that.
All right, fine. Hey,
But I did want to
maybe,
mention that because we're starting off with just a bunch of random ideas right here.
yeah, this is great. This is the
But I wanted
greatest.
to, because we haven't even started on the topics I was prepared for. So this is great. This is what's great about Beans, is he can ramble on and save me if I haven't prepared for an episode of this podcast. But I wanted to mention, we said we wanted to have Mr. Reynolds be our first guest, and that was the plan. Obviously, things happened. It's actually probably more possible now because we have to do it through a Zoom call. So we could always ask him, hey, you want to be on? But we didn't think ahead. But we just, I don't know. This is just me and Beans for this one again, just because stuff got set back. Beans was dealing with the play. We can talk about the play later because that was an interesting thing. I watched that. It was all on Zoom. Yeah, so, things got in the way. And for
Well, you watched the play and you still didn't know who Felicity is, though.
Dude, you don't.
She was Cinderella. She was like the main.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, but we can talk about that a little bit. But for our two fans watching, we're sorry we took so long.
Did no one watch the last one? Did only two people?
More views than I thought. Like 20.
20 views. All right.
This is either going to be super surreal when we look back at this in like 3 or 4 years, and it's going to have like a significant amount more views, or we're going to look at it and be like, wow, we still didn't make it.
Nah, views are like you get them immediately and then they just stagnate. And so I don't think we'll get.
Because I need to ask DePaul, because obviously we're just posting it. I mean the views on YouTube could easily just be new YouTube users that just clicked on a podcast, or it could be people from the school. But I think DePaul added our podcast to the website. He said every time we make a new episode, we gotta let him know, which is cool. I don't know where to look for it. I don't know if he's actually put it out on there yet. So
yeah. DePaul, you never know with him.
You never know. DePaul, if you're listening to this, we love you, man. But you're like a wild card, dude. I
think he loves this.
Yeah.
To be called a wild card?
Yeah, he's like a wild card. Like he could, regarding anything school or just like specifically with this podcast related, it could be anything. Like I half expect him to just pop up and like hack our Zoom call during so it'd be like, it's mine now. And, okay.
He just has a hostile takeover of our podcast.
Yeah, he just takes the podcast and we become corporate zombies.
No, what was it? Quinn Coleman. He was a big member of the play for a lot of years, and he was talking about how he made a video for Mr. DePaul's class where he has Mr. DePaul play Thanos. They're doing like a parody of Avengers, but he couldn't get Mr. DePaul to do it, so he had to have like one of his friends and they just filmed him from a weird angle and just put shadow over his face. Yeah. But he was supposed to be Mr. Paul. Imagine that. Imagine you're like creating something and you have to orchestrate it in a way that you're trying to replicate this one person, but nobody even knows who that person is. And so it's just like a levels of just nonsense in my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a funny with the paw man. I don't know. I've had him. I've never had him. This is the first year I've ever had him, and it's great. it's
Yeah,
he's
it's a
funny,
fun
but
time.
again, you're a wild card man, and it's a good thing and also an interesting thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, more of a wild card than most other teachers, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say
Um.
unpredictable, but that's like the word that's just floating in my head. But again,
mm,
it's not like a bad unpredictable. It's like out of nowhere he could just, and it's not like a weird. It's not like a Mr. Dylan unpredictable, like where he could
yeah.
just say something really weird out of nowhere. It's more of a just anything he would do. You're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, or a pop quiz that doesn't actually count towards our grade. He's just making us take it for fun. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened, but it could happen.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
He just
like a
goes, "You're
pop quiz.
taking this. It doesn't matter, but you're taking this."
I mean, he had us take like a happiness thing.
Yeah, that was cool. That told me I wasn't as happy as I thought it was.
Dang, that's cool.
It told I'm not like super unhappy, but I think I was below a 3, which was
Mm.
which is I don't know if that's good or bad. I can't remember.
No, I was. That told me that I was, and I am happier than I was last year. So last year was rough.
Means is
But am I? I don't even know. Who needs to be happy? Happiness is just a thing. You know, I've spent my entire life in this Catholic school culture where they're like happiness doesn't matter as much. And well, at least they say that it doesn't matter as much as people from outside our bubble say that it does matter. You know, they're more like, you know, suffering is important and stuff like that was drilled into me from a young age. So I don't care so much about being happy all the time. Uh,
and yet you are.
and yet I am.
Yeah, you are. Beans tries to deny it, but dude smiles like every 3 seconds.
Nah, bro. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what's the first topic? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could just talk about because I wanted to talk about it earlier, but it was around Thanksgiving break and we couldn't record then. But since it's so recent, we can talk about the virtual play music.
Virtual
No,
play.
it was a play, but then there was some music. There was like actual like songs, and I was like, and I only watched it because you told me it was a play, and I was like, thank God, because I get uncomfortable when people sing in musicals. I don't know why. And then Marie just had like a huge solo, and I was like, it's not bad. I just don't like solos.
All right.
It's nothing
Yeah, so
against Marie or anyone who sang in the play. I was just like,
yeah, I mean the singing I didn't know that that was going to happen for a little bit. I guess they did have a thing on the survey that said can you sing. So but yeah, it wasn't supposed to be like a big part of it. Like when we have musicals, we have everyone singing, but this was just a couple people. And they had to like find versions of the songs that they wouldn't get copyrighted for, and
yeah.
it was a
That
big
was
weird
fun.
thing. But yeah, they did kill it, I think.
Yeah, they did. It was pretty good.
And so yeah.
But for you personally, like, or not personally, but just from your perspective, how do you think it went? I mean, from my end, I was watching. It might just be because of my internet, but I was able to watch the majority of it.
Yeah, I think it went
Like
pretty
compared,
well. I think that especially yeah, so the Elliot and Maggie connection was a little bit bad the first night. Sorry to call them out, but they went to the school the second night, and so that made it a lot better.
uh,
And yeah, everyone had pretty good connection the whole time, I think. Um, and so it kind of became like a normal play. I mean, the worst part of the play for me were like, I don't know. I guess yeah, it stinked to not be just like with an audience and hear them laugh. Like that was really tough because this is a comedy. So that is the thing that has the most audience engagement of any genre. And so that was tough.
now there was definitely laughter, at least in my house, because everyone wanted to watch it with me, and I was like, "Why? It's just a school play." I was like, part of me doesn't even want to watch it. I'm really just here to support Beans and other people. But yeah, there was some laughter. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, what I missed most was being able to like talk to people. Like I feel like a lot of the people who who had just joined the play that year, whether for being freshmen or other reasons, like I would have been able to talk to them because we would have had in-person practices, but I just wound up like coming out of the play feeling like I still didn't know them, and so that kind of stank. Um, but yeah, besides that, like I was kind of surprised with how well we were able to do stage directions and all that stuff virtual. Yeah, Sarah Beeson really put in work. Shout out to her for like trying to make this thing cohesive and stuff. So yeah.
It was pretty good. So from like if it was just, forget the fact that it's on Zoom, if it was just a play, how did it go, you think? Like,
It
performance?
was just a play.
Yeah, and like performance-wise. Actually, before you answer that, for anyone that didn't actually uh, watch it, like, what was the play about? Just like a brief, just really brief. What was it about? What was it called?
All right. So if you didn't watch it, you hurt my feelings. But but I'll tell you anyways. It was an adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear, and they sprinkled in some Game of Thrones because why not? And it's just basically like fourth wall breaking, super dumb comedy. I mean, no offense to the play, but it's like,
Well, it was dumb
yeah,
comedy, but it was great comedy.
yeah, it was dumb, but it was solid sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so yeah, that's basically it. Like, I guess I could summarize King Lear if you want. It's just that the king gives his power to his children, and then his children fight and kill each other, and the king has a heart attack. And that's it. I don't know if he actually has a heart attack in the original. He gets shot by an arrow. Who knows? But anyways, more importantly, yeah, that's the play, and I think that the performances were pretty good all around. Um, yeah, like the leads all were super impressive. I thought really good job at being evil people. Really sold you on them being evil people. Like, um, and then what else? I liked a lot of the side characters too. I just liked, yeah, a lot of the performances I thought were great, actually.
So I have a question. The character Blood Packet guy.
Yeah, everyone loved him. He was
No
like
doubt stole the show.
crowd favorite.
No doubt stole the show. But was that already, because y'all did that like Game of Tiaras is what it was called. Y'all did that like it was already an adapted play. Y'all didn't change it too much, right?
We didn't change anything, or else that would have been a violation. Yeah. I mean, we changed some things.
Obviously.
Wait, but I have to redact that statement. That statement never happened because if we changed anything, then they would have come at us with copyright. And so we just happened to mess up our lines in certain spaces.
Yes.
That's what happened.
But the Blood guy, so that guy was going to be in the play even if it was in person? Or was that, well, you can't tell me.
So he wrote, so the playwright rewrote this play for virtual. Mm-hmm. And he did it like really quickly after he realized that this play that he wrote wasn't going to be performed at all because nobody was doing in-person plays now that COVID happened. I think that's what happened to him. And so he rewrote it really quick. So yeah, so they could have, because obviously the line was like, this is virtual and blood wouldn't really work. You can make the same argument about it being, if it was a real play, like blood wouldn't work, obviously.
Yeah.
And so maybe they were just going to have him and he was just going to be throwing streamers everywhere all over the stage or something, which could have been interesting. He seemed like a little bit of an integral piece of the play to just like add in the last second. But I guess he really wasn't. I don't know. So yeah, so it's possible that he was in the original, but yeah, we only got the Zoom adaptation, so we don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was Blood Packet guy was hilarious. For anyone that didn't watch, Blood Packet guy was just a dude in a black shirt with red streamers and being very creative with it. There's not a lot you can do with that, and Braden took it to the next level.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Braden. Shout out. But yeah, my favorite part was actually just this emergency sermon.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
That was fun.
Oh man, dude, yeah. I don't know why, but it's just so emotional, man. It's just like I feel like that's the truth now. Like people get married and then they're not my bros anymore, and
Yeah.
it hurts. And so that spoke to a deeper truth.
He has a lot of friends that get married
Yo, you know that everyone getting just hitched.
all
Just
over.
I'm out in the background crying. I can never catch whatever the flowers.
Yeah.
I stand next to all of the bridesmaids. I'm like, let me catch the flower. I don't want to be lonely anymore.
Beans is waiting to catch the flower. That's
Oh
that's
man,
that's depressing.
yeah.
Probably if that's probably like the reality for someone out there right now. And you're making a joke about it.
Well, I mean, jokes are about reality, but also obviously,
But also
yeah.
reality.
Well, that's a reality for for a lot of people is that they feel like they just can't get married, can't find the one.
Yeah.
Um,
Any of you listening that think you can't find the one, there's
you're
either
right.
circumstances. Yeah, you probably can't find the one, or there's no one. Just
Dang.
find someone and say they're the one. Because
Scola and I are so cold. You know, there are people who are hopeless romantics.
yeah, I this is gonna sound like cliche villain from a movie, but I don't believe that crap. I mean, definitely people get married and they just like get with someone and they're in love, but there's no person that you are destined to be out there with. If there was, that's kind of sad and that's kind of cruel because that means if you never find them and they happen to die out of nowhere without you finding them, then you always be alone. So if anything, it's better to think that you're destined to be with no one and that you just should find someone to be with.
Hmm. Wow, that was a good rant.
Yeah,
That was quality.
that was good. That was good. Yeah,
It's you're like you're Prince Charming now. You're the one with the evil villain monologue.
yeah, that was Prince
Our
Charming.
pod. Oh,
That was good actually. Prince Charming
yeah,
played too. Luke did a good job with that.
yeah. Luke killed it too. What was it? Yeah, our podcast is a Shakespeare play. And you're the evil villain.
Yeah, where this is that's gonna be the title of the video. We are a Shakespeare play.
Yo, that's a pretty good title,
I don't know.
honestly.
It's because I had to think about that. You know, the fact that this is just a podcast, but in a sense, we're running a YouTube channel. I mean, you got to think. I've never thought because you watch. I mean, I'm sure you've watched some YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube, and
Yeah,
titles. I take them for granted. All sorts of YouTubers that are out there just posting videos. I look at the title. I'm like, oh, cool title. You really got to kind of think about the title, especially with the
yeah,
podcast. Like the last one was easy. It was just welcome to BeansTalk because welcome to BeansTalk. But you gotta. I'm sure. I mean, sure, all sorts of every single podcast that exists has to deal with this. They have to look into the podcast. What topic do we talk about the most, or which one was the most funny? Which one catches the eye, or which one are the people that read the title going to be most looking forward to? And then they put that as the title. So it could be something like "We Are a Shakespeare Play," or something later what we're going to talk about. I mean, I was
yeah,
about that the other day. It's really interesting. Well, that it's going to be kind of different. I'm just glad thumbnails are going to be a problem. Our thumbnails are all going to be the same.
yeah. That'll be nice.
That
Thumbnails are holy smokes. There's so much you can do.
there's so much. Yeah,
With
crazy. YouTube is crazy.
yeah, YouTube's insane because like I don't know. I think I've found like one maybe two YouTube channels just by word of mouth by people talking about them. Most of the time you're just getting recommendations from YouTube itself.
Yeah,
So you're dealing with
last
like
time,
this
yeah.
machine.
The last time that I actually looked at a YouTube channel because someone told me was like forever ago.
Yeah, nah. That dude it's been like a couple years.
A
Yeah.
few years because they still had the algorithm back when they started, but it wasn't anything advanced like it is now. Like back then,
Mm.
you had to go over and be like, "Hey, there's this YouTube channel. This guy's really funny, or she's really good at like makeup tutorials or something like that." But now you literally don't have to talk to anyone, and you could probably make your own playlist of favorite YouTube videos.
Yeah. Can
Yeah,
you hear my brother screaming?
I do.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And the door is shut. It's very impressive.
Yeah, nah, it's all day. It's all day forever. It's my life.
Beans, did you know that 300 hours of video on YouTube are uploaded every minute?
Yeah, that's the insane
That's
part.
what's crazy. That
Because your brain goes, there's so much stuff on YouTube, there's got to be stuff that's like entertaining
like
and
you
worthwhile
never.
watching.
I mean, it's obvious. It's an obvious statement, but you will never watch every video on YouTube, even if you
Yeah.
started at birth. Never.
Now, you would never watch every video on YouTube if you started watching it from the moment YouTube was created
Yeah.
and then continued watching it until when
Well,
YouTube just breaks
yeah.
up.
Just even if you like live longer than you would have lived, you will never. That will never happen.
You'd have to like actually live forever, and you'd have to live so long that you can out that, and you'd have to have a computer and internet and a cloud that stays there forever so that you can have all of these videos with you forever, because odds are YouTube's gonna be like destroyed or something, or like
Eventually, YouTube. I think.
bankrupt.
I don't know if YouTube will be gone one day, but I think YouTube may like just sit there like an old website that no one posts stuff on anymore.
Mm,
Which is gonna be sad. You'll probably still be able to watch videos, but they may just like stop or run out of money or go bankrupt, and they just like leave the videos there and no one
yeah.
posts anymore.
YouTube is such a just like a light bulb moment in like modern, I don't know what to call it, but like this is insane that we can watch videos from just any source.
Anything about
Yeah.
anything. You look up anything, there is a video about it on YouTube.
And like that's just not something that would happen like, I don't know, like 40 years ago. And so I feel like, I don't know, maybe even if YouTube um is goes bankrupt or something, we're gonna have something similar to it forever, like where we're gonna be able to be in contact, um, and like yeah, have constant information at our fingertips.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really it's crazy how vast that website is and all the stuff that the improve like the evolution of YouTube is what really gets me because I didn't start watching YouTube until like I think a long not a long time like I don't know when it was created. When was it created?
shoot, it was probably like a one or something. I don't know.
Probably
I think
2001 or something around there. But I didn't start watching YouTube until I was like 8, which is like 2012, 2013 or something. I mean, it's but still, even from then, it's evolved like immensely from what they can do, from what it looks like, what the
yeah.
yeah, everything is different.
I probably started watching it pretty seriously. I don't know, probably in grade school at some point in time. But now I have like 50 channels that I'm subscribed to, and there's
Yeah.
like
There's so
new
many.
stuff every day. Yeah. It's like, how did this happen? When was I just subscribed to like one channel?
Yeah, no,
When was the first one?
I used to not want to subscribe to any. I don't know why.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't have a because you actually have to like make an account with an email, and I didn't.
Mm,
I just watched it as like a just on YouTube, just through Google or something. But now I have the YouTube app, and am subscribed to like 30, probably 40 different channels, and I'm like, how did this happen? When did this happen? Because I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah.
the thing is, before I subscribed to those channels, I still watched them religiously on those.
Yeah.
You know, I like those channels, and yeah. But it's really weird. I can't remember what the first YouTube channel I ever subscribed to was, but it definitely was something that I watched way before I decided to subscribe.
Yeah, I think that the first YouTube channels I subscribed to are dead now, largely.
Really?
Like, not that they're deleted, but that they're
Yeah, they just.
they stopped making content, which is yeah, pretty sad. I
Mm.
think I'm still subscribed to them, but yeah.
I think the first YouTube channel I might have subscribed to was Ryan Higa.
I don't know who
You
that
recognize
is.
that name?
No.
No, so I mean, he's like a YouTube veteran. I mean, he was like one of the first to make a YouTube
Hmm.
account, but I wouldn't say his channel's dead. But dude doesn't post like he only posts like 2 months, which I don't know, maybe it's because he's busy or he's doing other stuff. Obviously, um, if a channel goes longer, there's more likely that it'll just stop uploading. I even
Mm.
notice with channels that are active right now, they they still make videos, but compared to the beginning of their YouTube or yeah, compared to the beginning of their YouTube career, they like posted a lot at the beginning, and they still post a lot now, but it's like every 3 days, which is weird to see. It's slowly getting to be less and less.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, and then you've got someone like JonTron who uploads like once every year,
Yeah,
which is
people still love it when he does it, which is crazy.
yeah. He's got an insane thing going. I'm like, how do you make? Because he's got a set. He's bought a set, and he's releasing like a video a year. I don't know how he's
And
got the money for this.
he's
I don't know.
definitely active on like social media, I bet. So that's how he keeps his
Mm.
presence at least somewhat known. Like I really don't know because well no, there's been plenty of YouTubers that have taken time off and not even been on social media or anything. But it has to be like a really well known YouTuber to be able to take a break for so long,
Yeah.
like a year, and come back and people still, are like, hey, there's been a lot I think that have tried to come back after a year and people go, oh, they're still here. And
Yeah, it's interesting. Um, Guys like this one little known guy subscribed to like Shammy. He does pretty well for someone who uploads like once a year because he'll make this like giant 40-minute video.
yeah,
That's like a super just dense analysis of some video game. And so like sometimes if you make big videos that have a lot of content in them, you might be able to survive that way. But yeah, like a lot of other guys, like this one guy, Drew Langlois, he makes this like computer looking animation stuff. Yeah, I feel like he's getting forgotten. I guess he never really had a large subscriber count anyway, in the first place. But it's been a while since he released anything. And so I looked at his new video and I was like, that's probably not doing too well. Numbers. So yeah, you gotta stay in the public consciousness.
hmm
So,
yeah, which I imagine is hard if you're like
mm.
really dedicated to it. Like if that's your job, that stuff.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I know it's got to be one of the least stable feeling jobs between having to get your money by just people happening to click on what you made, and then having YouTube make all of these crazy decisions. You're dealing with a monopoly, basically.
Yeah.
And did you see the new thing that they did? So YouTube made a new statement that they're gonna monetize videos. Like if you don't monetize your video, they can come in and monetize it and get money for it.
So they're for channels like it could be even like channels like ours, channels that don't do ads that are like super small. They can go and monetize those for themselves.
That's kind of
That's messed up. It's
I mean, obviously, I don't think they'll monetize ours because if they start going in and manually monetizing random stuff, then the problem with that is that they could have the problem of manually monetizing something that's not appropriate for like stuff. They could accidentally manually monetize like somebody just beating the snot out of someone and putting it on YouTube, and then they'd have to go and explain that.
I mean, with that,
so they're probably going to be choice with it.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I say our channel. Really, channels that are as small and just started. Like you could really a channel that has. I mean, they're probably gonna not just take like a super new channel, put ads on it, and be like, "We have your, you make money for it. Your content's crap." I mean, that's technically what they're saying they could do, but they obviously won't do that because ad revenue has to do with how many people watch. I mean, ads play. If no one watches the video, ads are on there, but no one watches the ads. I think I'm right. If I'm wrong, don't scream at me.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because, like, this might just not be a sustainable thing. Like, YouTube's going to have to start charging or something because, like, you pay for cable, and then they run ads on that anyways because they still need to make more money. And those ads usually last longer than the ads on a YouTube video. Like, that's the insane thing, is the amount of content to the amount of ads is crazy. And then that's compensated by a lot of people aren't looking to make money off of YouTube, but a lot of people now are seeing it as a legitimate job, and they're mad at YouTube because YouTube keeps on giving them less and less money, and YouTube's like, we're not making money, and so I don't know, it's a whole debacle.
Yeah, something like that, I guess, would be really hard to keep stable. They've been keeping it stable for, I mean, a long time now, and you're right. Something that lasts that long has to, I think it's inevitable. I mean, unless, it's inevitable, but they probably could have waited a little longer until they turn into this, YouTube used to be like, at least to me, and especially with like what a bunch of creators are talking about YouTube now. YouTube used to just be like, oh, it's this fun thing. It's not really that big, but everyone does it. And now it's just a big corporate monster sometimes,
Yeah.
which sucks.
Well,
Because it's probably not even their fault. At least majority of it. There's definitely people that make the decision, obviously, but sometimes it feels like that decision has to be made. You have to do that. You have to. Oh, we got to do this. And someone somewhere in YouTube said we have to monetize videos that aren't even making money with ads.
yeah.
Someone said that, and they think it's necessary, which may be wrong, but it's still someone trying to make a decision. So people give YouTube a lot of crap, but I mean that's a big organization trying to make decisions that don't just completely make their whole company go under.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I just watched, what was it, The Social Network, which basically had the same conversation where I guess Facebook had the same upbringing as YouTube, where it was like, they didn't want to put ads on it because ads aren't cool. And then eventually now they have ads on it, but Facebook is for old people. None of us use it. And so we might have a situation like that with YouTube. Because right now, that's the weird thing, is that YouTube's marketing itself towards kids. And so that's the people who just that just watch it like 7 hours of the day, like it's school or something. Kids are insane with their YouTube watching.
Yeah,
And so,
me too. I mean, I'm not a kid, but yes, I fall under the insane watch. Sometimes I swear I will watch so much YouTube in a day, and I'll be like, wow, I am just contributing so much to all of this watch time, and it's crazy
yeah.
how much of YouTube is actually driven by people like that.
Yeah, we have to be careful with how much YouTube we watch. I've been trying to cut back on it for a while now. But it's tough because then you look at your subscription feed and you've got all these videos you want to watch. You're like,
Yeah, that's the problem. I think that's why at one point I was trying not to subscribe to any channels, just because my YouTube intake is at least 5 times more than it was 5 years ago, just because of more channels that I've subscribed to. Or I think 5 years ago might have been when I just wasn't subscribed to anyone. And then out of nowhere, I subscribe, and now I'm watching all of these videos. It's like an obligation. You feel like you have an obligation to watch these. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. What was I thinking of? I think that I'm trying to take a different solution, which is try to focus on just watching the stuff from my subscription feed, which I haven't been doing. But like when you just watch recommended videos, then that just goes on forever. And that feels a lot worse than just, I don't know, watching this video that is in your subscription feed. You know that you like it. No odds it's gonna I don't know, because a lot of those videos, yeah, they're more reliable and they'll probably give you, you subscribe for a reason. What is it? I'm always behind on rare earth videos, but when I watch a rare earth video, I'm like, dang, that was really cool. I don't know why I don't watch more of them.
Which sometimes it's cool to wait, because then you watch it and you're like, wow, this is great. I'm not glad I waited, but it's also cool I get to watch 5 videos in a row.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Do you have any other topics?
Yeah, I wanted to, it's topical, and it's kind of what everyone expects people to be talking about right now. But I mean, the fact that we're in mode 3 and why we're in mode 3 is kind of. I haven't actually looked at the numbers. I just keep hearing my parents say, oh, the numbers are going up, which I believe. I mean, it makes sense. And they said, the virus, it thrives in cold environment, and it's getting colder. So, especially in places like where we live, it's starting to spread a little more. But, what do you think about the fact that we thought we were out of this, and now I feel more quarantined than I did when quarantine started, just because
Yeah.
like I still get to do stuff obviously, and obviously because school started, stuff's a little more, but I feel more quarantined now just because it's getting worse and it's coming back again, and everyone's kind of paranoid about it.
So, yeah, I 100% think that this was probably the right move. This is the move that all of the colleges were taking too, like Notre Dame. Go home for Thanksgiving and don't come back,
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense because we got the holidays right now. So people are going to want to go home to their families, come back, go home to their families again, come back. That's Most colleges make you get tested every time. That's just insane. That's
Mhm.
just too much. And so, and then we're going to have the same thing. We're going to have these college students coming back during Thanksgiving. And so we're probably going to want to be quarantined after that so that we're not bringing all of these diseases, all of this possible COVID contact back into the school from all across the country. And so, yeah, mode three during this time, especially since it's getting colder, it just makes a lot more sense. And then, yeah, I'd imagine, I was predicting, I think we were all predicting a giant spike right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Um, and so I haven't really been looking at the numbers, but I don't even know. At this point, like, I'm just going to say I don't even need to look at the numbers to know that we're probably getting a spike right now. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I was looking at the numbers actually quite a bit back in like the end of last year because I was curious. Now, I mean, I was curious about the numbers just because I like statistics and it looks cool. But really, now I just take it off of what is everyone else saying. It's getting higher. All right, then I'll be more safe. I mean,
yeah.
that's about what you have to do. People that look at the numbers, I think it's great. But also, to me, it would just be to see the number and see that many deaths. It's just more depressing to see that. I'm not saying I'm just denying the reality, but if someone tells me the numbers are going up, I'll believe them and I'll try to be safe. I don't want to. I don't really want to put those numbers in front of my face and be like, wow, that many people have died from something that I probably haven't even been taking as seriously as I should have.
Yeah. I mean, this is a tough situation to be in. Like, oh man, just everyone. Like, there are a lot of arguments about this. Like, how shut down should we be? And like, people are blaming a lot of different people for this. Like, um, yeah, it's a tough situation. Like, everyone wants to put every COVID death on like the president's hands, but obviously, people are gonna die. People are dying in like every country from
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I mean,
And so,
and anyone that I mean, obviously there's some precautions and there is some blame
yeah,
thrown at people that don't wear masks or don't socially distant. But people got to remember this started just as a thing that came out. No one like everyone's trying to blame someone. This is a virus that just happened to manifest itself. Like I get
yeah,
people are also saying, at the beginning everyone was saying, well, actually someone let it go. The government, like the Chinese government, let it go. But really, if it's something that this powerful, it probably would have made its way around the world anyway.
yeah,
Containing this is hard. So if you try to blame someone, just think again that this is a virus that no one can control yet. We haven't been able to control it yet.
yeah. Hopefully, we're getting a vaccine, and that might mean that like I don't know, the months to come, like we're gonna see like a real return to normal that doesn't get
Yeah.
shut down. Which almost doesn't even work in my brain. My brain says we're gonna go in person and we're gonna go online again for some absurd
Yeah,
reason.
I'm thinking it's gonna keep bobbing in and out. So eventually maybe it gets eventually even or something like that. Which I think is
Um,
very possible.
that's possible, yeah. I mean, yeah. So we'll see. So like, yeah, the vaccine looks to be. I mean, from what I've heard about it, um, like that should be levels of we can go in person and we can start to try to live our lives, especially since, if 90% of people are safe now, then we're not going to have like flooding in the hospitals. And so we're going to be able to take care of everyone. And we're not going to have, it means it's not as many people are going to be dying. And so, like, hopefully we're going to be looking at, yeah, within the upcoming months, like an actual return to normal, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's I don't know.
I hope so. I mean, for me, quarantine was honestly, I didn't feel like too bad in quarantine. It was all right, but it was a little bit. There were times where I was like, oh, this is. I'm kind of this is getting annoying, and I kind of want to see a person other than
Mm,
the other three members of my family. Um, but with school, that kind of helped. Honestly, the fact that we got to go to school a little bit, that kind of helped with that.
yeah,
Now, I mean, if we get into serious quarantine like we were back back in early this year, that's going to be because even though it feels like I'm in quarantine more now, we're obviously not. It's not as serious right now, at least quarantine wise. It is serious, but it's not as stay indoors, at least here, that
yeah,
it was back in earlier in the year. Earlier in the year, everyone was like, you just can't leave. My mom literally would not let me leave the house. She was the only one. She wouldn't let anyone else leave the house. She was the only one that could leave, that was leaving the house because she had a job. She actually had to go to a place.
yeah. I had a job at Martin's, and my dad was like freaked out, and so he made me um take a leave. And but then now I'm back at Martin's,
Back in
and
Martin,
he's not as worried. And
trying to.
so yeah, so we've got work, and then we've got Zoom school, which helps a lot. I think that yeah, for me, one of the things that I needed to start doing was waking up at the same time every day. Because at the beginning of quarantine, kind of why it felt so hectic was that we didn't even have Zoom classes, and so I remember just staying up until like 4 every night. It was terrible. Don't do that. Don't ever
Yeah.
do that in your life.
I definitely stayed up later. I don't know why when we were doing quarantine at the end of last year, like when we
Hmm.
weren't doing Zooms, because I wouldn't be on a class schedule, and they would just they would throw us the homework and be like, finish this by next class, and then I would take because I mean I would take that whole day to do whatever the heck I wanted, and then at like midnight I would start doing that homework. I don't know why, but now I think it's a little different because I have to sit
Yeah.
in a class. So while I'm sitting in that class, I might as well do the homework. So I'm definitely not staying up as late now.
Yeah, it's good to have more of this kind of like exactness
Yeah.
in what we're doing. But yeah, that kind of characterizes the beginning of quarantine was nobody knew what was going on, and then everyone was just like hard lockdown for 2 weeks, and then everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
People did not expect it to be.
definitely. Yeah, it did not. It's still lasting if you think about it. I mean,
Mm,
even though we've been at school, it's not over until you can talk to someone in front of you without a mask. I mean,
yeah, I think that the moral of the story is that I was right as usual because I remember being like everyone's going a little bit extreme, and now everyone's flipped, and they're less extreme than me. And also, I remember thinking this is going to take a little bit longer. I was nowhere near though having any knowledge that it would be just this long. But
O'Brien called it. This O'Brien was the only teacher that I had that was like, because the week before we went into quarantine, she was like, "We're gonna be in quarantine next week, guys," and we were all like, "Yeah, we'll be in quarantine eventually, but I don't know about next week." And then out of nowhere, I woke up. I was ready to go to school. Actually, no, I wasn't because I knew we weren't gonna be there. But I woke up on Monday forgetting we were in quarantine. And I got up and my mom was like, "Hey, we're in quarantine," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I went back to
yeah,
sleep. Yeah.
no, I remember distinctly walking the halls that day that we had to pick up everything and
I
how
didn't do
weird
that
that was.
actually. I think because I took everything home, which was nice.
Hmm. No, it was kind of nice to walk the halls and get everything and see all of your teachers for like the last time
Yeah.
before you had to hole up in your house.
Like especially with because the fact that we can't just roam in the halls, and we have to like go to our classes immediately, and they don't let us roam the halls and stuff. I haven't seen some teachers since almost a year. It's been almost a year. I mean, teachers that didn't have and I haven't had in a while, but I just haven't seen some teachers because I just cannot go interact with them.
Yeah.
And obviously now we're on Zoom, so I probably won't see them for a while. It's crazy. I haven't seen some classmates in so long. It's crazy.
The weirdest part of COVID for me is that I feel guilt about being in large gatherings that occurred before COVID happened. I'm like, no, I shouldn't talk about this, even though it happened
I might
before.
have paused it. You're like,
I
oh
don't
crap, that could have been me. But I
like,
knew it was. I'm thinking right now. Well, and I'm like, oh, because that day that everyone was like, I mean, it's so weird to think that there was a time we weren't wearing masks in a classroom,
yeah,
which is it's weird. Like the day that I told you, like Miss O'Brien was saying, we're gonna be in quarantine the next week, guys, and we were all like, I don't know about that. We were sitting there. I was sitting next to someone without a mask, less than 6 feet away. It's crazy to think about that. It's something
yeah,
that I wouldn't say take for granted, but people don't even think about. And then when you sit down and think about it, you're like, wait a minute, hold on, that actually happened at one point.
yeah. And then she told everyone not to touch each other, and TJ Weber immediately high fived someone, and she made them get hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
That's what happened in my
that's what
class.
happened. Yeah, he told me about that. He was like, it was really funny. And then the next week, he was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Was he really? I don't remember that part, but yeah. Oh man, this is gonna be go down in history as something.
Yeah, I
It's gonna
mean,
be pretty funny.
it's that every 100 years thing, right? That everyone was talking about. How like
Yeah,
100 years ago, what was it? Influenza.
yeah, I
And
think
100
so.
years prior, it was like, was it what was that again? Which one was that?
I couldn't tell you
Yeah,
now.
what was like the
1820s.
1820. I'm just gonna put plague. Wasn't it the oh this wait, so it says 17, hold on. That's so weird. So it says 1720 plague, 1820 cholera. Is that how you say it? Cholera?
Cholera or
Cholera?
cholera.
Is it
I think
cholera?
it's pronounced cholera.
No. So 1720 the plague. I assume is it talking about the that's not the Black Death, right? That was earlier.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Bubonic plague happened in like 1400s, maybe
The
1300s.
1820 cholera outbreak, 1920 Spanish flu, 2020 Chinese coronavirus. It's called the Chinese coronavirus.
Jeez. Yeah, don't. Why'd they call it that? What website are you on?
It's the internet.
It's the
Well,
internet.
I mean, it's called that because that's where it started. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that's fair.
they only called the 1920 flu the Spanish flu because it started in Spain.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, like the 1820 cholera outbreak, I think was just everywhere, so they didn't name it. Or I'm wrong. I don't. We don't act like
Yeah, I don't know.
things here at BeansTalk, guys.
We don't fact checks.
We
We
don't
don't
check.
do
We
research.
feel like it. When was COVID-19 declared? It says the world. Oh, okay. So COVID-19 was declared a pandemic on March 11th this year, but
Wow.
didn't it didn't it
Yeah,
show
that seems a little bit late.
didn't it show up about it like a year ago though? It showed up like pretty a year ago.
Yeah, it must have been sometime last year.
Yeah, but it was like very very small, and then I didn't hear about it till like the middle of January.
Hmm.
When everyone was, saying that 2020 was going to be the worst year ever because we started off thinking we were going to be in World War III and all that.
Yeah, so middle of January, when at that point in time I was like, oh, is this gonna be another like what was it? All of the big illnesses that just happened in Africa. Well, there was one that was
Oh,
really
like the
big.
Ebola time and all
The
that.
Ebola.
There
It's
was a
gonna be like
yeah,
another
yeah,
Ebola where we just joke around whenever anybody coughs that
yeah.
they have
This has
Ebola.
been bigger than that, obviously,
Oh yeah,
because
well
it's
yeah,
actually in our country, like the
yeah.
U.S. I mean, I think wasn't Ebola was in the U.S., but it wasn't enough like to where people like in school could just like joke about it. Now it's touched literally everyone.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I think that what happened was Ebola wasn't as big a deal for first world countries with good hygiene.
Yeah. But
Um,
now with COVID, since it's different because COVID's
it's
like
still yeah, it's your hygiene does not save you.
no,
Which is kind of insane.
it could. I guess it could, like
Yeah,
washing your hands, but still, even that. it's weird to think that you could do everything and still get it, because there's people that have gone through every precaution and they still have it, or they still got
Yeah.
it, or they probably will. Man, it's a really weird year. It's crazy to think that it started off with people just joking about, oh, it's gonna be World War III, and now it's not World
Yeah,
War.
what was World War III about?
Yeah, World
Is
War Three
this
was like
the Syria and Turkey and stuff?
our country was like mad at some other country that was mad at someone else, and then there was like in February something else happened. I forget what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, it was a pretty bad year, but there have been a lot of bad years.
Yeah, everyone thought 2019 was bad. I don't know why. 2019 was all right for me, I guess. I don't really remember big things that happened in 2019 that made it bad.
Yeah, nah. Well, when's the last time somebody said we had a good year? I don't know.
I think
I
for
mean,
me, honestly, I think. Well, I'm trying to think because it's different for some people. I'm just trying to think of like what year was the most like would be like the most nostalgic for me right now, and going back there would be really cool. I would say like 2012.
2012. Why does that also
2012 is
seem
good.
like the year for me?
Because Notre Dame got. I mean, despite the fact that we lost to Alabama, that was a good year, and also that was the
Uh,
first year that I started watching Notre Dame football, and I was really excited. And my first visit to South Bend, because I lived in Texas back then. I don't know. It was a really cool year.
yeah, yeah. 2012. Yeah. What an interesting year.
Too.
I don't really remember it that well, but yeah, all of these years that happened before, there's so much work to remember.
Yeah, and it will not be hard to remember this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely will not be hard to remember this year.
Maybe this is the best year.
No, I don't think so. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to be all optimistic like that and say, well, maybe this year was good. Maybe we learned something. But we didn't even
No.
learn something. Come on. There's so
Um,
many people that still haven't learned from this year.
we learned that we still live in the dark ages where we can have pandemics and
Yes. We learned that
um,
we are never far from the beginning
the beginning.
of just everything shutting down. It's crazy how vulnerable and like weak our world has felt this year because stuff just like stopped and you can't
Yeah.
even fight it. If you fight it, you die. Or you get sick and you spread it to someone who could die.
Dang, that's an interesting way of putting it. Like everyone just feels weak.
2020 is kind of just like a monster that you got to hide from.
Ouch.
You can't fight it.
Yeah.
You can't run.
Damn, we should have been born at the end of a decade. Screw you, Watch. Why do you do this? This happens. This doesn't happen that much. Like,
You want to go turn it off?
I know how to turn it off. That's the weird part. Is that like, why haven't I done that yet? Wait. I can't leave, or else.
Or else you won't hear me. Beans can't hear me. Beans!
Well, I can now. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. I'll pick up my computer. Look at this. And you guys are gonna get me picking up my computer audio. Isn't that
You
great?
don't have to take me with you.
Yes, I do. All right, so guys,
Come on, bro.
today we're looking at my watch. Hopefully it responds.
This is a dull moment. I'll try to talk for
Thinks it's 2 o'clock. This dumb watch.
anyone just listening. So we're about wrapped up, guys. This is our second episode for the two people actually watching this and listening to this. Thank you. We want to continue to do this. Hopefully, we can. I don't know, do this for a while. Trying to think like farther into the future. It's like, are we gonna just like do this whenever we can? Are we gonna actually try to commit to this? It's hard because obviously we're seniors. It would have been cool if we actually started this when we decided to start it, which was like freshman year. But I don't know. Just thanks. It's weird to say thanks when there's not really an audience that you have after like 2 videos. But thanks to anyone that is at all even regarding my words as Beans fixes his watch.
Yeah.
Beans,
Alright,
you got any parting words for the audience?
I hope my watch. Oh, I think I did it. Yeah, I think I did it. All right. Parting words for the audience. Um, don't get COVID, but you can't help it. You have no power.
That's not what I. People are gonna think that's what I meant when I said you can't fight it. That's not what I mean, guys. But it's pretty
You
hard.
can't fight it. It's going to kill you. Just accept it. Just accept it.
That's how you. That's how you enjoy 2020. You just accept everything and you party.
Yeah. Do not party. Nobody partying.
You're not
This
party.
is
Party on
this
your
is like the opposite of 1999 because nobody's allowed to party.
party, but on your own. Like just
Oh
party.
yeah, one person party. That's okay.
One person parties are all right.
That's so funny because this year it's like usually people are like, get out there, meet new people. But now we're like, don't talk to anyone.
Don't talk to anyone. Just wait till next year. You also people are like don't talk to anyone. Don't interact with anyone. Your hair looks like crap, so don't even try to look at anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you have bad self-esteem, it's probably saving your life right now. So you should probably.
People that are like super introverts and have bad self-esteem right now probably are doing all right in quarantine.
Yeah, they're doing solid.
People that need to get out there and need to talk to people are probably on the verge of just like I don't know, just going completely insane.
So the world is flipped upside down. It's great. That's all I gotta say.
Yep. Beans, you got another creative outro for us? Not the one we did last time, because the one we did last time was super.
Does it have to rhyme, or can it just be some words?
You know what? I don't care.
All right. You have experienced greatness with Beans and Marscola, but now it is over. Goodbye.
I've committed to
What?
I've committed to this with this man. Okay. This is fun.
Yes, you're in a committed relationship with
I'm in a committed relationship with BeansTalk. All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, bye.